real housing and affordable housing once they exit the system. I saw all of this, the impacts of racial disparities in some contexts and the challenges that our children of color face when they enter the system and being recognized and understood from the communities that they come from, their communities of origin, and a number of other areas. After my 13 years in the foster care system, I lost my father when I was 8 to cancer of the liver, and I went into the foster care system, going from home to home to home. From 2000 to 2010, I was taken in a total of 8 different placements, never obtaining any level of substantial foundation of what a normal family and a normal child would consider home. Never experiencing that. When my mother died, I was 16 years old, Kimberly. I talk about her often on my social media and my public stance because my mom, I loved her, but she was addicted to drugs. And she died of a drug overdose when I was 16. I got involved with gangs and drugs and all the things you could think of. Grew up in some of San Diego's most toughest communities at the time. And now, I am a champion for foster youth, not just in this region, but across the state of California and across the country. Because I find it important to make sure that the challenges that I faced as a youth in the system, as an orphan in the system, that other foster youth do not have those same challenges to bear if it's up to us to fight for them to have access to opportunities. And that's right, you can clap. And so, we're here today to make an exciting announcement, something to smile about, because there's a lot to be sour about today in society. Would you agree with me? Right? There's a lot to have a sad face about. But because Jim took a courageous step and said, yes, we'll open up our museum to foster youth this month through June 9th to let them experience the aviation industry, and because you all took the proposal, all of you as staff and some of community members took this proposal seriously, today we are here to make an exciting announcement for our foster youth who may be embattled with different challenges, but to welcome them to a new vision and a new career that could be something innovative for their future. Would you agree with me? And so, the statistics speak for themselves. 20% of foster youth go homeless upon exiting care. 10% of foster youth go to college, and only 3% graduate college. We are obviously not achieving the promises as a county government, the promises as a state government, and as a federal government that we enabled when we took these kids in. We take kids from their biological families and promise them all the opportunities in the world, promise them that they'll be in a safer environment, promise them that we'll take care of them like a family is supposed to do. But government has neglected its job time and time again for these same children. Take it from me, I know firsthand. And what we've got to do, if the statistics are saying that foster youth are going to college and not graduating, if the statistics are saying that all the preaching we've done to them about going to get a bachelor's and 2 master's degrees to prove themselves capable in society, if the statistics are telling us that's not working, that preaching is not working, then we need to preach a trade and an opportunity that they don't have to go to college for, but that they can get experience and get OGT training to get on the job in an industry like the aviation industry, which has jobs available if you want to work hard to obtain them. And so today we're here to make a landmark announcement, first of its kind, because it's a part of my office's initiative to make sure that we open opportunities in the trades for our foster youth. We will be making a landmark announcement next week with construction apprenticeship programs, opening the doors for foster care to construction pipeline. Today we are making an announcement about the opening of from foster care to aviation. Aviation is responsible for at least 10 million jobs in the United States of America. a multi-trillion-dollar industry. We have an obligation as the aviation industry and as government to make sure that we meet the moment for these children and provide them with other opportunities that they can have to connect to. That if they don't want to go to college, maybe there's a job in aviation that does not require college, but some training that they can get a job that will provide an everlasting and successful career. And that is what we're here to talk about today. Through my new initiative, my office's new initiative, we are announcing the Let's Fly for Foster Youth effort in partnership with the San Diego Air and Space Museum to open up this museum here in Balboa Park to our foster youth, providing them free tours and free access to the San Diego Air and Space Museum from May 15th, which is today, to June 9th, as we are preparing to get that information out and make sure our foster youth and those foster families can take advantage of this. Through this initiative, we will also be providing an aviation briefing later this month to over 20 to 30 foster youth in our community, providing some aviation experts to talk about the opportunities and the careers that are available to transition-age foster youth who don't want to go to college but want to obtain a skill. That will happen later this month. Through this initiative, my office will set up a portal on our website at pajmovement.org/Let's Fly, and through that portal, families will be able to sign up to come to the museum, receive this free tour by the staff that you all have, the wonderful staff that you all have that greeted me when I came in the door, and to be able to learn about a career in aviation and the opportunities that are available. We will vet those families that sign up through the county and make sure that they are actually foster families and foster children taking advantage of this. And why is this so monumental? Because when I was a kid, I remember coming to Balboa Park was a privilege. And it should not be that way. For a young kid from Southeast San Diego, it was a privilege to be able to come outside of my room that I was huddled up in that was the size of a closet and come to Balboa Park and to be able to come to this museum and the Science Museum and all of the museums here in the park. It should not be a privilege for our most vulnerable children. It should be a right. It should be something they have access to. And if it's up to us, we're going to change the vision and the environment that they see and that they have access to. So, with that being said, I'm proud to now introduce the CEO of the Air and Space Museum, a champion in this community for the longest, someone who has stood up for the museums in this park, who has fought to provide access to all constituents across our city, and someone who has been an anchor in Balboa Park for a museum that is one of the most historic museums in the park. The CEO of the San Diego Air and Space Museum, Mr. Jim Hedrick. Thank you. Yeah, I'm just okay, no problem.
Well, certainly thanks to Sean, because through his leadership, we're able to, as a community, take on some very, very special programs that simply wouldn't be available. We actually put this together, and Sean will tell you, from last Monday night, I think, Sean called me up. We were talking about a myriad of different topics about the park, the city, what's going on, and he started talking about this program because, as you can see, he does it with great passion because he's one who was there. And there's really no one else better to lead something like this in our community than to have someone who experienced it personally. So we got talking, and he said, hey, by the way, he starts talking about this program, and about after 3 sentences, I said, okay, we're in. Now, Sean will tell you that, Shane, I have a cousin named Sean, so I apologize, Shane. So Shane will tell you that I said, we're in, and he kept on talking a little bit because he's so passionate. I said, we'll do it, let's work it out. And he kept talking just a little bit more, right, Jane? Because he feels very, very strongly about the success of programs like this in our community. And this is just one of many programs that we should be engaging in for the youth of any community, and especially the San Diego region, right where we live. So I want to give Sean certainly a tremendous amount of credit for doing this, initiating it with us, and allowing us to be a partner, and maybe kind of that first partner for the museum. So thank you, Shane.
Thank you, Jim. And with that being said, I talked earlier about the importance of this opportunity for our foster youth, the importance of the youth in our community who are in the system at no fault of their own, having the chance to be able to come to this museum to learn about the aviation industry. And later this month, like I said, we will hold a briefing with foster youth where we'll bring 20 to 30 foster youth in here at once and literally have some of our top aviation experts have a conversation with them. In context, I want to now invite Natalie Ramirez, a young person in our community, to talk about the importance of this effort and why this is so critical for the young people across our city.
When I first walked in here, I thought that this place was really intriguing, and I liked how...
I need to talk a little louder.
Yeah? Okay. When I first walked in here, I liked how intriguing this place was and all the gadgets and aero structure, and I thought that urged me to want to see more. So I think this would be a really good opportunity for foster youth to learn more. Like Shane said, only 3% of foster youth graduate with a 4-year college degree, and this aero in space is a really important degree that you don't need to study much for. It's easier. And I'd like to give a special thanks to Shane Harris for promoting these opportunities for the youth, and for giving the youth opportunities to grow in spaces where they don't have much to use for that. And I'd also like to thank San Diego Space and Air Museum for giving the youth this opportunity. Cuando entré a
do it in Spanish.
Cuando entré a este museo me gustó mucho todo lo que había alrededor, me interesó mucho, y por eso creo que esta es una oportunidad muy buena para la juventud, para aprender, como dijo Shane, que solo 3% de los niños que están en foster care se gradúan con un degree de 4 años. Por eso creo que esta es una oportunidad muy grande para todos los niños en foster care, y esto les puede ayudar mucho. Por eso me gustaría dar las gracias a Shane Harris y a Space Air Museum por darles la oportunidad a los niños de aprender y no tener que trabajar tanto para poder tener estas oportunidades. Gracias.
So, before we take questions, I want to thank everyone who has been a part of this effort. I want to thank also Ronnie Miller, who is here from the council office, San Diego City Council Member Henry Foster, thank you for being here. And Council Member Whitburn's office is involved in this, supportive of this effort, I shouldn't say involved, and a number of other council and county offices. Next week, I will be at the County Administration Building on Tuesday to cut the blue ribbon. Blue is the color of National Foster Care Month, with all 4 county supervisors, which we will make some announcements there next Tuesday to officially kick off National Foster Care Month with county supervisors. And we will be making a number of new announcements and policy proposals to the county next week for our foster youth. I say this in closing. We have an obligation and a duty to make sure that our foster youth have the opportunity to see things that they have not seen, to do things that they've been told they cannot do, and to achieve things that they were set out, that they were said not to be able to accomplish. Being the exception to the rule, for me, it should not be that way. For Natalie, it should not be that way. For so many young people in our community, it should not be that way. We are not an exception to the rule. We ought to be the exception in society. And that is why I've built my life obligation on fighting to advance foster youth causes, no matter what segment and portion of society. These are children that ended up in the system at no fault of their own, and they deserve our support as a community. All of us. All of us. And so if there's anyone out there that thinks you don't have an obligation, if there's anyone out there that thinks you're not responsible, this is not our children, they are. They are the government's children, and therefore we all pay for them via our taxes. There's an obligation that all of our community has. Pick up your hand and do what you can. Find a way to support a foster youth. That is what National Foster Care Month is all about. So with that being said, I'll take any questions from the media on this announcement. But today we're proud to partner with Jim Hedrick and the San Diego Air and Space Museum. And I want to thank all of the staff who helped to gather this announcement and to help us get this done. This is not the end, this is the beginning of a thorough partnership to support our foster youth. And it's on all of you, and thankful to all of you for working with us to make it happen. So let's fly. Let's fly. With that being said, I'll take questions now from the media on this new initiative and partnership. Questions from the media? Any questions? Questions? Yes.
Are you working with the San Diego Regional County Airport Authority for jobs at the San Diego International Airport? So that could be a pipeline for jobs there.
It is a part of the breadth of what we're trying to do within the context of expanding in the aviation industry. There is a new CEO that is taking the helm of the authority, and so our goal is to work with aviation industry leaders wherever we can to try to expand upon this partnership that is the first of its kind here, to expand that into other areas and to make sure that we try to create a pipeline of job opportunities for transition age foster youth. Yeah. And I want to say that for those who are wondering, who are the foster youth? There's a lot of foster youth that we have engaged with our organization, but they cannot be disclosed. Their picture and their video, they cannot be disclosed, right? But we want to make sure that we understand that the organizations like ours that are connected to this population, we are connected to them to try to break cycles. And while there are some who raise money on child welfare, they raise money on programs that keep the cycles going. We're not interested in keeping the cycle going. We're interested in working ourselves and the county and those organizations out of a job. And the way we do that is by breaking the cycle from the pipelines that exist. The pipeline to dropping out of college, the pipeline to homelessness, the pipeline to prison. The way we do that is by pushing to create more opportunities in trades that opens up their eyes and their foresight to be able to accomplish these things. And I think that's the precedent behind this. So this is small, but it's historic, and it's a first, and it's the first of many and the first of more. And that is the way I want us to look at this opportunity. Thank you, Jim Hedrick, for taking the leadership on in this community. And for so many who are supporting this, let's make sure that we let our foster youth know that they can fly too. Thank you all for being here, and that concludes our announcement. Let's fly. Thank you.